All right, we are live here at the lunch break today at FNGO Tuesday, August 19th. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. I know it'll take a few minutes for some of you guys to get through the commercials on YouTube and logged on, and TikTok as well. They're notifying everybody that we are live. So we'll give it a few minutes, let everybody jump on, but just, blessed to say it is a good day. And looks like it's getting ready to rain outside a little bit. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Got a long day here at FNGO today. Got the live well tonight. Got a great show tonight. I love it when we get smart people on, and we're going to have a smart person on tonight. Thad Moody, with Thad Moody Outdoors. He is a fisheries biologist, and he's going to be joining us tonight on the live well. What's up, Tony? He's going to be joining us tonight on the live well, so you guys can bring your questions, your comments for them. I always love to really pick those guys' their brains, just to see, number one, what makes them tick, and also to see what they think about bass behavior. And it's not just limited to bass. What's up, John, Doug, all you guys out there? You guys out there at TikTok as well, jump on in. What's up, Dino and Chandler? See you guys. It's good to see your faces every day. Starting to see everybody's faces, whether it's on TikTok or Facebook or YouTube. Definitely very cool. Pontoon Jody, John Aldred, Eddie, all you guys. Just another day in paradise, my man. Another day in paradise. Pontoon Jody, I need to reach out to you. I need you to, and you might have done this before, but I need you to email me. It's good grief. Let me type it again. I want to talk to you about doing some stuff with you. Fishing. All right, fishing. Let me clarify that. You never know when my wife might be watching. Fishing. So if I just put my email in the chat right there. If you could shoot me your email, and like I said, you might have done it before, but again, I'm terrible. If anybody knows me, they know that I love to write stuff down on yellow sticky notepads, and then I lose them. I do it all the time. What's up, Father Time? Doc Holiday and Atlanta Outdoors. And again, all you guys that are watching on TikTok, like I said, it takes a few minutes on this lunch thing for everybody to really kick in and get going. So it's kind of hard to start the show sometimes, but we're going to do what we're going to do. But glad you guys could join us today. What we're going to talk about today, and we can go anywhere you guys want to go. You know how it works, okay? We're going to talk about P.E.T.A. That's People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. We're going to talk about them a little bit. And then we're also going to talk about old school bait versus new school baits, but in a little bit different sense, okay? In a little bit different sense. Not so much whether the baits are as effective, all that. I'm thinking more with the economy and what's going on. People eating tasty animals, Dino. I knew somebody was going to put it out there, and it is almost deer season. So that's going to be happening a lot. But I want to think about it a little bit different in the context of with tariffs and prices going up, those kind of things. Are there old school baits that we can go back to that aren't going to cost us an arm and a leg? What's going to change with live scope? It's just going to get more expensive. I know that. I don't really know, Hogan. I really don't know. But it'd be interesting to see. But I'm just thinking, I went to the store, ran up to the store real quick before the show, and grabbed me a Coke. And, we don't think about it now, but it's like $2. And I'm sounding cheap, but it's like $2.79 for a Coke. So everything's getting more expensive. And, thinking fishing related, are you going to make changes? And are you going to start using some old school baits as opposed to buying the new stuff coming out? Just curious to get your thoughts on that. And then, of course, we'll go wherever you guys want to go. But just think about that as we get started. Now, let's go ahead and do our regular useless information that you guys need to know for a water cooler talk this day in history. Got two things for you. I would like to see some old school gas prices. No doubt, Doug. No doubt. 100%. In 1692, 4 men and 1 woman were hanged after being convicted of witchcraft in Salem, Massachusetts, in the province of Massachusetts Bay. And one of those guys, John Proctor, for those of you that like to read, he was the inspiration for Arthur Miller's play, The Crucible. I don't know if you ever had to read The Crucible in school. I believe I did. I don't remember it. But the Salem witch trials, we all know about that stuff. Dude, I just got a Big Mac meal from McDonald's, and it was $15. Ain't it crazy, though? old school housing prices, 100%. Also in 2010, the last American combat brigade exited Iraq 7 years and 5 months after the U.S. led invasion marked the beginning of the Iraq War. Now, Doc Holliday's on. He is showing his age, guys. I remember when Cokes went from a nickel to 6 cents, everyone was going to quit drinking them. Yeah. Tyler Shellnut. I read The Crucible my junior year of high school. Cameraman Cletus eating some turkey and rice right now for $3. Well, I had some food. It was cheaper, but still everything's going up. But just curious, and we can talk about that too. But I was sitting there thinking, just how is it going to affect fishing, and how are guys going to make the adjustment? Dan Parker, a number one at Crystal's with a large fry and a Coke is over $19 now. Seriously? Look, I like Crystals. I like them. I ain't paying $19 for them. Ain't enough meat for $19 worth of Crystals right there. That is crazy. Absolutely. Just paid $14 for Chick-fil-A. Wow. Well, now I can, Crystals has went way up, Chandler said. I did not know that. Now, there's only one Crystals around here, and it's in Canton. And I don't like to go to Canton unless I have to. So I don't eat there a lot. But wow. And he forgot the cheese. So that's a number one with cheese or number one without the cheese. Goodness grief. I didn't even order a large. My wife went and got me some last year. She got me like 3 things, and it was $20. What are we doing here, guys? How do we fix that? You remember, and let's see, it's been a hot minute, and some of you guys might not remember, when gas hit $3 for the first time, and like the world went crazy. The world went crazy. Oh, that was the location. That was $19 in Canton. Dan said, a margarita average price is around $20. Oh, when gas was $3, we all thought, it was crazy. We all thought just, oh my goodness, end of the world. But then, it come back down and goes back up. But eventually they got us used to $3 a gallon gas, and nobody fusses anymore. And now nobody fusses anymore for a $2.50, $2.60 Coke at the convenience store. Now, cameraman Cletus, I got 14 chicken breasts for $28 at Costco. It's the deal. That is a deal. And that's the way my wife likes to try to do things. I got enough chicken in my house to choke a billy goat. I mean, seriously. And then I'll see, and I'm like, she'll come in with more chicken breasts. And I'm like, we got a freezer full, baby. We got a freezer full. William, I can remember the gas wars. It was around 50 cents a gallon, I believe. There you go. Now, I do remember in high school, I remember on 141, this is the cheapest I ever bought it as me buying it, 69 cents a gallon. And that was, you're going to be looking at 1988, 1989. There was a little convenience store. How about the average price of Zoom bait? $7 just about for a bag. I know I'm getting ready to have to increase it in my store. It really is ridiculous. The price of everything keeps going up, but my SSDI check stays the same. 100%. I know, dude. Dip and Chew has really gone out of sight. I used to buy a can of Copenhagen for $2.89. And I think I probably paid $7 and something this morning. And that's on me. I probably shouldn't do it, but I did. I do everything in my power never to eat out anymore. My boyfriend feeds his dogs rotisserie chicken from Costco. Wow. Morning. What's up, traveling fisherman? I buy Stoker's now. I tried Stoker's. It's just too sweet. It's too sweet for me. Kind of like Skoal. I can't do Skoal no more. It's just too sweet. Dan Parker, do away with the entire tax system that is currently in place. Add in a flat rate sales tax and on everything. We keep our entire paycheck. Price of goods would either stay the same or be less, and federal and state income would increase. I agree with you. O'Neill Bortz. You guys remember O'Neill Bortz? He was all about that flat tax. What's up, Alex? Conditioning is what they do. It never comes all the way back down to the lower price. The only reason I buy is because the tubs are around $18 and it's more than a tub. I agree with you, Hogan. But it's just, and I can do the wintergreen. I'll do the wintergreen. But the regular, it's like Skoal. Skoal straight now, it's like putting sugar. Copenhagen, where I get it, is $5 a can. My buddy says it's across the mountain at $6. Dude, I'll send $5 to you. Buy me all the cans you want. I can tell you where you ain't gonna get it for cheap, and that's in Florida. It's like, well, around Orlando. Of course, it's Disney World. That stuff's about. I mean, I paid almost $11 for a can down there. Let's see. That's the best way to reduce overall cost of goods. The Fair Tax book by John Linder and Neil Bortz. Everyone should read it. Is Bortz still alive? Is he still alive? I'm curious. In Destin at a gas station, I had to pay $12 for a can of Copenhagen. Yeah. Seriously. Now, Danny, we got to get you locked back in on the diet. Hanks is getting locked in and might beat you. I'm still on my diet, dude. Oh, I'm losing weight. Maybe me and him need to put some money up. Maybe make a bet. But I'm losing weight. Free baits. I use live bluegill to catch bass. That's it. Jaden Smith, 859. Howdy, gang. What have I missed? Right now, we're fussing about prices. Over $10 in Arkansas, Dozer21 said. $9.69 for American's Best Golden Blend, which used to be Red Man. Wow. Ain't it crazy, though? So, like, I'll jump on P.E.T.A later. I'll make fun of them. But, yeah, the prices. Okay, we'll just jump right into the old school versus the new school bait since we're talking about prices. That's the kind of what I was thinking is like Jonah said just paid $8 a bag for pool salt. What is it normally? I paid $25 for one can of Kodiak Long Cut straight out of a gas station in Aruba. That is in Aruba. And listen, if I was in Aruba without it, $25 would be worth it. Dozer's going to start growing backer. He's going to start growing it. Zens are cheaper. That's the route I went. Now, listen, the Zens are not strong enough. Eddie Hudson, Copenhagen, $1.25 tax included. Dude, we need to talk. Cam, kayak grape used to be good for cheap. But I do like the ONS. Is that what they're called? ONS or whatever. Their cinnamon's good. Coffee's okay. But it's still not. I mean, I actually like the taste of it. But that is neither here or now when we're talking about fishing baits. I didn't expect to be talking about Copenhagen and all that, but we are. But still, like, how has the prices changed you? Double up the old lip pillows. Listen, okay, since we're still on that, Michael, one night before a show, I put 2 8s. I put 2 of the 8s in there. And listen, I got a tolerance, my man. I've got a nicotine tolerance like a lot of people don't know. Doubled up right now. You can double up them 3s, but I doubled up some 8s. And I hadn't eaten, and I got here about halfway through the live well. I was like, good Lord, boys. My buddy had some kind of pouch, and it was fruity flavored, and about made me sick. 6s. Doubled up on the 6s. Maybe. And it is cheaper. But back to the topic. I want to know your guys' take on the baits. Now, because I said old school versus new school is what we're going to talk about. And you can talk about performance if you want to do that too. Like new school baits are better, old school baits are better, all that. But I'm really seriously thinking about the economic part of it. Norwegians have 20 and 40 and 60% pouches. Well, I need to get me some Norwegian friends because that's about what I need. But how is it going to affect you in your buying? And Pontoon said, backer, I got dared to take a plug of Levi Garrett once, got sick for 30 minutes, never again. Hey, listen, you're always going to get sick your first time, Pontoon Jody. What year was the spinnerbait made in? We put out that video. I believe it was 1915 or right around there, somewhere in there. I didn't do that video, but I think that was the answer. Every bass I've caught in the last 2 times went out was on an old school bait. Well, what was it, Jonah? But I'm thinking economics. So best thing I can say is just don't do it. And that's great. I turned green trying some Levi Garrett plug one time. I actually used to, you guys are on the backer thing. You could go get a twist that was actually like real tobacco. You could get it at Ingles. That was pretty stiff. COVID caused pay scales to go up. Nobody wanted to work and retail prices went up. It had a lot to do with it. They sure ain't going back down. But so he caught those fish on a spinnerbait. Okay, spinnerbait's good. What's up, 706? Old versus new baits. We talking price or what? Well, here's what I'm talking about. We can talk about price. We can talk about performance, which one's good, which one's not. But I'm talking about since the prices are undoubtedly going to go up, undoubtedly, something like that. However you say that, are going to go up with the tariffs and everything. Is it going to change the way we buy baits? Number one, are we going to pull out a lot of the old stuff, like I got the old jitterbugs? Yeah. Are we going to start pulling out some of those baits and using them again? I still use old school baits and they work great. Soft plastic is still fairly cheap. I buy glide baits. Price ain't an issue. That's true. Well, some of you guys are going to spend the money no matter what, just like us with Copenhagen. I get it. Some of us, you're going to do it no matter what. But is it going to change it? And if it does change it, is it going to change what baits we throw? Now, everybody's throwing the minnow. I mean, if you've been paying attention to the industry the last couple of years, everybody's going to the minnow style baits. Will the jigs and the spinner baits and all the old school baits, will they make a comeback if those baits get priced too high? Tyler Shellnut, the Shimano Vanford just went up $40, if I'm not mistaken, due to importing them from overseas. Coleman says I'll be buying more super glue. Chandler says I'm giving myself a limit on buying lures. And then Aldred, he's a glide bait snob. Steven Sturgeon, my best way to save money on baits is to use the Elastec. Those baits are so much more durable, and they are. But my Lord, I hate using them. I just do not like using. I don't like Elastec baits, even on the Ned rig. Fishermen are hard-headed and we'll pay the price because we want it. Probably so. Mega Bass jerk baits. What are they going for now? That's why you need a minnow that holds up more than a few fish. Cough, cough, cast echo. Shameless plug. But I'm being serious. Is it going to change the way you fish? 25 plus for a Mega Bass jerk bait. All right, guys, listen. Those that love Mega Bass, you're not going to be able to convince them differently. But I'm telling you, you can go over here on my wall and get one from ARC for $9.99. And I'm telling you, you will do just as good as you do on your Mega Bass. And I know that's like people are rolling over in their graves, me saying that. Okay, I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to tell a difference in the performance. I'm just saying it. People are going to say, you're crazy, but I'm just saying. Prices already went up. Let's see. Prices already went up. Jackhammers are now $20 a pop. I'm buying the clearance chatterbaits at $10 while they're on sale. It's crazy. Look, jackhammers should not cost $20, guys. I'm just telling you they shouldn't cost $20. Doesn't make sense to pay $25 just to have to go spend $8 more on treble hooks, Hogan says. ARC, I'm telling you, ARC jerk baits are just as good. They look just as good. You're not going to tell a performance, but you bought into the name. What's your beef with the Elastec? I shouldn't have to use super glue on anything. That's my biggest beef. When throwing a Ned rig on like our weedless Ned head, you got to super glue this stuff. I just don't like it. I don't know. And maybe it's just personal choice. It might be the best thing out there. It's just I find it to be a pain in the butt to have to put super glue on a bait. When I got a hook and I got a bait, it should stay. I paid the same thing for a Buccaneers trick shad last weekend that I paid for my first one around 15 years ago. The $50 didn't hurt near as bad as it did the first time. It was clearance at my local spot. I only use super glue on my crappie jigs. And it's annoying to put on. Elastec is annoying to mess with. Also, too, you can't leave them in. I mean, they'll rot everything if you leave them out, and you can't put the dye on them very well. Copenhagen in the 80s, $1.25 a can. Definitely not now, 100%. 6 cents makes a good jerk bait for the price. The 97 DD was a deal last fall for me. Fishermen are going to load up on prices now and then jack up the price on eBay and Buka. So anyway, so listen, I mean, honestly, guys, look. They eat the plastic off of reels too. That's another one 706 says. Depth Sakamoto shad prices. Guys, there are cheaper ways to fish. And one of the reasons why, and 706, I got the email typed out to you. I was fixing a few things, and I'll send it back to you today. One of the reasons why we're changing what we're doing here in the shop, I'm throwing rooster tails, and you should. But I'm wanting to start to promote and focus more on your mid-sized companies and your mom-and-pop bait manufacturers. because I think these bigger companies are absolutely just putting it to you, and you're not even getting a reach around, if you know what I'm saying. My dad buys all his stuff in bulk. Rapala, X-Wrap, and Ripstop are money for me. They're great. They're great. What's up, farmer? Elastec stuff. I made the mistake of tossing them in with my regular worms. What a mess. Seriously, it's like some kind of chemical reaction went off in there. But you tell me right now, and I make jigs. Go back old school with a float, a cricket, and an old school Zebco 33. Probably been more big bass caught on a Zebco 33 than any other rod ever made. That's what I grew up throwing. And you're probably right. But even a Zebco 33 now costs, in the little combos, they're in the 30s. Thank goodness I saved all my dad's. The old school Strike King Terminator spinnerbaits are now $40 and up. The game of fishing is all about how you make fishermen feel like they are getting a competitive advantage. Whatever fisherman believes will help them do this, he will purchase. He'll purchase whatever he believes will help him do that. I've come to realize that some of the new baits are just all hype. 100% on that, Danny. Huge ripoff with big box stores. And so, Cletus, you're right. But what if we can turn around and do the same thing with a $9 jerk bait as opposed to a $25 jerk bait? Seriously. Live scope will be the downfall of many bait companies. Now it's hurting some. But we'll have to see what the future of live scope does. Most baits are designed to catch fishermen. That's what I tell everybody. There's two types of baits in a tackle shop: those that catch bass, and the other 95% catch anglers. Them old boya spinner baits are still fairly cheap. Booyah, yeah. I fish the old spoiler shad. Does the trick for me. Z-Man is like a system to me. You need a special screw locks and jig head. Spike it, melts it too. Not worth it more than the Ned baits. I can't justify the Mega Bass jerk baits anymore, and the hooks bend out real easy on them too. And let me tell you what else I don't like Mega Bass. I don't like Mega Bass Company, and here's why. We tried to get a Mega Bass account, a Mega Bass account, and I was told I was too close to Hammond's. They have protected territories, and if one company has it, then you can't sell it. They protect their territory. So I thought, well, that's just great. I mean, that's nothing against Hammond's. I like the guys at Hammond's. I don't know about that, Cletus. I think you might be a little not correct on that. Forward-facing sonar has boosted the crap out of sales for companies that were struggling as well. Pure Fishing Strike King leaned into it and saved their butt from losing money. Yes, and kind of some of the stuff I hear on the backside, maybe not. Maybe not. But I get what you're saying. I have a U.S. patent, and mine is recorded. I hope it works better than the copies. Okay, Tom Erico says like that. But listen, I'm telling you, a jackhammer. Guys, I make jigs. You put them together. I can tell you what's in one. I can tell you what it costs to put a blade in there. Now, granted, you got to pay for other things as a company and all that. But if you're paying $20 for a jackhammer, I'm sorry, it's not worth $20. You may say, "Oh well, it starts quicker." What's up, Brett Matthews? Those are over 100 degrees here, melted Z-Mans in the cup holder. The lure is great, but $17 for subpar wire hooks. That I'm a skimmer rings and hooks stink too. Bend out easy. We buy into the hype. Slobber knocker is the best bladed jig. No, I ain't gonna agree with you on that, Steve. You won't catch me paying $20 for a chatterbait, Mason said. Paying for the name. And I think that's the case. Is it going to change? I always hit the clearance aisle at Academy. All right. Tim Hancock. I knew if Tim was watching, he was going to jump in on this conversation. Tim, I said it before I even thought about what we're going to talk about. I said, I bet you old Tim shows up today in the comment section. I knew it. I almost know you like the back of my hand, big dog. But anyway, all it takes for someone to get addicted to a lure is for them to catch some fish on it. They'll keep using it to the exclusion of other baits, and in their mind, nothing is better. And if that's a high dollar bait, they'll pay it. You're right. My issue with the jackhammer is the only brand CB, let's see, I do any good with or get to work well. I get it. I didn't see some of the facts. Brigade blades from Battle Baits catches them, or the Strutter from Brazzalo. The Evo and Slobber Knocker outcatch the jackhammer for me. Dude, why ain't you guys coming up here and buying all these slobber knockers I got then? Dudes will frown on the cost of a hooker, but pay the same amount for a lure. Only one of those is guaranteed to catch something. Oh my Lord, Steve. Oh my Lord. I can't, let's see, best way to, okay, I don't even know what you guys are saying. I'm going to have to catch back up on the TikTok. But that's a pretty good saying. And Hancock adds, and they'll miss the opportunity to see how effective other baits can be. A lot of things you're paying for the name. I'm just telling you, you're paying for the name. And unfortunately, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, that Spro cover jumper, that bladed jig is every bit as good as a jackhammer with a better hook, and it's cheaper. But you tell some of these guys, oh, I only throw the jackhammer. Man, I'm just telling you. I know what you think in your head, and maybe you're right. Maybe it works for you. But $20 for a bladed jig is ridiculous. I thought Steve bought you out for $5 a piece. I'll buy some if they're left. Steve never came and got them. I ain't donating them either. I got to get some money back for them. I got to get something back for them. But again, okay, it's 20, say Mega Bass is $25 now, or Jackhammer's $20 now. Where are they going to be in a week? I mean, not a week, a year. Are you ever going to see Z-Man bring that Jackhammer back down to $14.99, $13.99? You ever going to see that? Are you ever going to see anything like that again? Because I see listen, I can tell you the price increases on the backside of some of the things like hooks if you're making jigs, or lead, even lead. And yes, it's all more expensive. It's all more expensive. I haven't raised the price on my jigs. I might make 10 cents less a jig. You guys, I'm telling you guys, you just got to think about it. There are good deals out there with good medium-sized to smaller companies that will do just the same thing. Just the same thing. And I get confidence is a big thing. And I understand that. I get it. I get it. But I don't know. I really don't know. Pontoon Jody said, I fish with what I have confidence in, no matter the cost. I don't want to lose a fish and say, I wish I had done this or that. And listen, there are times to spend the money. There are times to spend the money. I get it. It's kind of like toilet paper and sheetrock come to mind. You don't want to go cheap on toilet paper and sheetrock. And when I say sheetrock, I'm talking about the guys that actually know how to put it up. All of us at one time or another said, hey, listen, I can do sheetrock. I'll do it myself. Yeah. Pay the money. Jesse Elder, it sucks to pay big dollars for these baits when the hardware is trash. Mega Bass hooks are garbage. I'm split rings are garbage. Pay big money for a bait and then have to replace the hardware right out of the pack. Okay, then here's the thing. Swim baits gear is stuff you cheap out on. I'm trying to keep up. There's a whole conversation going on over there in TikTok. Best bait when they're not letting water out on the river. Whopper plopper? I don't know. I don't know. Chatterbait, white chatterbait. Brazalo's going to have all my chatterbait business going forward. Tim says it's even getting more expensive to make bait. Spinnerbait components are going up big time. They are. But it's like, listen, I can't in good conscience have somebody come in and buy a jig for $8. And if I went up based upon like the way some of these companies are daggum raising their prices, I could charge $8 for my jigs. There's no way in the world I couldn't sleep at night doing that. Dozer Hogan says a Ned rig drop shot weightless fluke. I would throw a white pearl fluke for water release on a river. Don't go cheap on braid. Lost a big bass on Temu braid this morning. Drag was loose and it just pulled apart weirdly. Now listen, I ain't saying you got to be the cheapest guy. I don't know that. I don't know. I ain't tried nothing on Temu to fish with. You guys will have to tell me about that experience. You guys will have to tell me about that. But yeah, I mean, and again, watch some of these companies on these tariff price increases. Watch them. I had a gentleman show me this. Watch it. Your high-end stuff. Pontoon Jody's over here on TikTok. How you doing there, hon? Watch it. The high-end rods and stuff in their market. their product line, you're not going to see the big price increases there. They are going down to the common man, to their higher sellers, to their where they make their volume. And not only are they adding the tariff price increase for that, but they're also covering their high end stuff on those products as well. On those products as well. Tariffs are going to hurt some companies in the tackle industry. Sure, hooks, lines, rods, specific baits. I never cheap out on my flotation device. You shouldn't own your flotation device. See you, Steve. I looked at a pro's boat who swore the jackhammer was the best thing this side of heaven. He had all Strike King Thunder crickets tied on. That happens a lot more than you guys think. I refuse to buy anything from Temu, but Coleman says the drop shot weights are solid. Listen, it's hard to mess up a drop shot weight. Bait companies love most of us fishermen because I have so much bait in my boat, I couldn't even tell what I have. Yes, I have a problem. I'm just trying to think of how the common man's going to be able to fish through this. How a guy that, is a middle-class American, how he's going to be able to afford and fish tactical fishing. Look at this handsome fella. You looking in the mirror? What are you doing, buddy? How are they going to be able to afford to fish? I don't want it to become a rich man's game. I have seen so many people blame poor line quality when it might actually be a cracked or rough spot on your rod guides. That's true, Stephen Sturgeon. All you truly need to catch fish is something green pumpkin or something. And okay, Tactical Angel, you were doing a short session scouting. I wish I would have done that this morning. Easy tip for guys to check your guides. Q-tip. Run it in your guides ever so often. Run it in your guides on your rods. If you got a burr or anything like that, it will take that Q-tip and it will pull some of that cotton off of it. And then you got a problem. And yes, that will cut into your line. About the only tackle purchases I make anymore are line and big baits to tinker with. I've got hundreds and hundreds of worms, crankbaits, jigs, etc. stocked up. And that's another thing. A lot of guys might be going, guys come in here all the time and they're like, look at my wall of baits. Look at my wall of baits that they got in their garage and all that stuff. I've got so much I never fish with. Well, you might start fishing with some of that stuff. You are. Now, Tactical does, I make what I need. Now, if I need a jig, I make it most of the time too. Finally going to use the tackle in my boat. I tell my wife I'm buying up from retirement when I can't afford it then. Got so much stuff already, probably got a couple years supply anyway, would fish with it. My basement looks like a tackle store. Professional fishing already has. Let's see. Then you're talking about the stuff. Emmanuel Leon, Gamma Fluoro is worth the money. As bad as I hate to say it, made a believer out of me. I will tell you this. I honestly think, I'll say this, cast braid, a lot of people fuss about the cost of that. That's worth the price. Plus you get more in a spool than you realize. You just see the price. That is one of the few things. It's like, no, that's worth it. Now, can you get away with a cheaper braid? Yes. And you might have to, but it is worth it. I have plenty, but still feel the need to buy more. We all do. I get it. Coleman says at this point, I'm about to stop drop shotting strings of Big League Chew bubblegum. True story, Coleman. I was brim fishing one day on my dad's pond. I had tuba crickets, and they were biting that day. And I was hammering them. That pencil float, the second it hit the water, was boom, gone, 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 gone. Kyle T, I'll get to that question in a second. I ran out of crickets. I had a pouch of Redman Chew in my pocket. Pulled it up, would take a strand, put it on the hook, and I kept fishing. And I used half a pouch of that stuff. Now, it wasn't Big League Chew. I was around when Big League Chew came out. I'm showing you my age. But you can catch fish on Big League Chew bubblegum. I promise you can. Tennessee River Pickwick for fall smallmouth. Kyle T wants to know. Just based upon the guys that I talked to, what is it in Chattanooga, right behind that dam? I've used Slim Jims before, they work. What is that the Chick Dam in Chickamauga? I mean Chattanooga? Boy, they bust some smallmouths right behind that thing. That I know. But you guys, Pickwick or I think you said the East Tennessee River for smallmouth. So Chickamauga. Listen, right behind that dam, you can catch some good smallmouth if you don't mind being in that current a little bit. Well, now we weren't fishing for smallmouth that day. We were catfishing with a fellow over here in Jasper, Georgia. But I watched some guys absolutely just wreck them right there. And I was sitting there thinking, boy, that's what I wish I was doing. Um, let's see. Tim Hancock, I've actually started selling some of my stuff off. There's no way I'll live long enough to use it. I know where you can send me some for free because you love me. Uh, Jacob Wheeler was down there not too long ago wearing them out. Better go before the hurricane comes. Ain't no hurricane coming, is it? I've caught some giants at the dam below Chick. That's he living to fish. That's where I saw them guys just wrecking the daylights out of smallmouth. And we were trying to catch catfish. We were with a catfisherman, so we didn't have nothing to throw at them. Let's see. Cast braid is worth the money. Most cast stuff is worth the money. You can catch smallmouth below the dam trying to skipjack. Trying to catch skipjack? I bet that's what you're saying because you're a catfisherman. I guarantee that's what you're saying. It's a Cat 3 right now in the Bahamas as we speak. Yeah, but I think it's supposed to turn and go. I think what I saw last night is supposed to turn and go out unless they've changed it overnight, which is always possible. Hope my friends in the Bahamas are all right. That's a beautiful place. Daiwa J Braid X 8X is unbeatable for what I need. I've caught brim on a blade of grass. They'll bite anything. I've caught them on a bare hook. iCast makes me buy more stuff. I like the new products and the new limited colors and things like that. Yeah, you can do that. True. And Seth Lee Huskins, you said yes, and I'm not sure what you're saying yes to unless it was a comment way on up there that I missed. Let's see. It is Chick and work on engineering projects associated with that dam. There you go. Did Cass get rid of the gypsy color? I don't know. I do not know. Maybe Clint's still on here. He might know. The path is supposed to go back and forth across Florida up into Georgia. I hadn't heard that one. I heard it was supposed to turn and go up. Now, you sure you didn't see one of those things on the internet that was just somebody was messing with you? Because that's not what I heard. I heard actually there was tropical storm warnings or like that along the coast of North Carolina for high surf and a little bit of wind, but it's supposed to just skim it and go out. Fred Ashcraft said it's going to skim the Outer Banks, North Carolina. Like I was saying, they're evacuating the Outer Banks, having family right there. Okay, no, Jonah, they still have it. He said he answered that earlier. So they still have the gypsy color. It's turning and going up the coast. So yeah, Hogan, I think you got one of those things where somebody just made it. And I think I saw the same thing where it goes back and forth, back and forth. I think somebody was pulling your leg on that. And the internet can do that. The trajectory I've seen won't hit us, but the edges will throw storms our way. That's a possibility too. Maybe sold out, but more on the way. So we still guys are throwing out baits and all this stuff, but y'all haven't really, some of you haven't answered it personally. Is it going to change? Are the prices going to change the way you fish and what you buy? The way you fish and what you buy. Will you go back to the old school style baits? It could. You never know with a hurricane. The eye itself will say a couple hundred miles. I said yards off the coast. If it's a couple hundred yards off the coast, we got problems. But yeah, a couple hundred miles off the coast. I'll tell you the cool thing too. It already does Atlanta Outdoors. Could you please elaborate out there in the comment section? I would like to know how it affects you and what you do. Are you putting off buying certain things? Are you going back to old style baits? Now, one guy mentioned how forward facing has kind of hurt a lot of companies and all that. It's hurt some smaller like jig makers and all that. A lot to build and change. We could be swimming by next week, 100%. Farmer, you are cheap. Robert Brett's old school baits still catch fish. Yes, they do. Still going to keep going broke to keep up with the times. Can't take it with you when you die. That's true. Cletus. You just need to worry about not blowing tires, okay? Because if you want to keep going broke to keep up with the times, you need to do something with your tires. I'm just telling you that right now. All right. Absolutely can't afford $30 baits and $1,000 electronics. Well, not everybody can. And I agree with that. I only buy stuff on sale, almost strictly buy off Facebook Marketplace, Coleman says. Tim Hancock says, I don't have to worry about going back to old school baits. He never left. And that is true. I'm cheap, but I will buy quality. To me, a lot of the baits can't outcatch a Zoom. 100%. You can't rob Peter to pay Paul to fish. 100%. You don't need all that stuff to catch fish, Kyle. Trust me, Hogan says. Rob Robleski, I don't care how much baits and lures I get. I still buy them. Everything in general is going up. Got to make more money. Sure. Won't be able to buy as much as often now, says Justin Nichols Production. Fred Ashcraft says it's just like the fuel prices during COVID. People are going to do what they want and pay the prices. And a lot of people might. That's just what I'm curious. That's just kind of where I was thinking. Like, how is it going to affect you guys? Yes, it already has. Gets us all in trouble leaving Bass Pro Shop. Stephen Guthrie says, I still fish old school. And Farmer says, the biggest thing for me is I won't put my family in jeopardy over a greenfish. I get that. Darius Martin says, if you can't go to Walmart and find what you need to catch bass, then I don't know what to tell you. You can catch bass out of a Walmart section. I get it. Is the Roman-made swim bait worth $1,100? Not to me. I'll rock a Texas rig Zoom Lizard on a 30-year-old Quantum and wear them out, says Kyle T. I like your style. Kyle T. Hogan says, I have a full-time job and do a lot of side work, and it's still hard to pay for stuff. And it is. It is. Tyler says, I'm still going to pay it. The girlfriend might get fewer date nights. Priorities. Man's got his priorities right there. You can find a knockoff. And Robert Brett says, the addiction continues. It might not be as much, but I'll try it. And if I don't like it, I'll sell it. So, kind of going off you guys' comments here. Let me read Clint's real quick. Still going bassing either way. Spent $500 this past weekend between gas and tackle just to flip grass and not catch nothing on nickajack. That is true. Now, we do that. And I have to admit, listen, now, I am fortunate in that I do get a few things given to me. So I don't have to spend the money on me personally as much. But if there is something really cool out there, yeah, I'm probably going to buy it. Rob says, I know bruiser bait prices are still the same. They won't change and they catch fish. That's right. Atlanta Outdoors. I grew up in a trailer park and rose up to where I am, not falling backwards for any hobby. Good for you. Good for you. I like that attitude. Luckily, the girlfriend fishes, says Tyler Shellnut. Darius Martin, $200 at Walmart gets you a rod, reel, and tackle. It can. The Roman-made chaser isn't worth $1,100, but the Roman-made negotiator is absolutely worth the $230, says Jeremiah. Fred Ashcraft says, the biggest thing I think people will use more of is soft plastics, less hard baits because of the prices. Okay, now that's kind of what I'm kind of gearing at. How are we going to change? Will it be more of the soft plastic baits? Justin Nichols says, I've also been looking for more small business individual bait makers to support them versus bigger companies. If I'm going to spend money, would rather support the smaller guy. Yeah, I get it. Went to Nickajack for a high school tournament and tired of punching grass and didn't catch a thing. That was a couple years ago. When I went to Chick, a lot of guys were throwing the frogs. I was throwing that morning dawn finesse worm. Took fourth in that tournament with my cousin. Gummy worms work in a pinch, Michael Lockerbie says. To answer your question, Stephen Sturgeon says, I haven't invested in a lot of new style baits. Old style still do what I need. Zara Spooks, Walmart frogs, plastic worms that I have had for years, and Johnson silver minnows. And Robert Brett says, making your own is always an option. Sell some to get your money back. You always can do that. Seth says, you lucky dog. My girlfriend won't even go. Listen, my wife don't fish with me, and I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing. It just depends all about how you look at it. Farmer says, I have bread and butter and catching fish, so I'll use that. He's got his bread and butter. I may just fall behind in the newest and greatest thing to drop and may get away from hard baits if it gets really stupid. He's talking about the prices. Little secret for y'all spoon boys. Throw a Barracuda saltwater spoon, and that's from Hogan on TikTok. I catch way more fish on soft plastics. Just give me a bag of worms. And Atlanta Outdoor says, I catch more fish on soft plastics on Laniers, remelt, and pour as Cincos. Tom Errico says, fishing has improved because of the equipment innovations and lowered the prices. This improved the profits. Yeah, it's, I get it. Well, Danny, you caused that yourself. I wouldn't fish with you either if you threw my PB back before I could even touch it. Carson, you didn't have to bring that up. Okay? But let's be honest, Carson. She was 19. She's 50 now. That's 31 years. There's a time to get over it. Okay? There is a time to get over it. Tried spooning from some bass and had zero luck. Now, when you say spooning, you talking flutter spoons or jigging spoons, Chandler? Blessing, when my wife fishes with me, I turn into a daggum guide. Right? 100%. Jeremiah said, true, but you said she won't fish with you anymore after you threw that 7-pounder she caught or whatever it was. Yeah, I did throw it back. She wasn't taking one out of that lake before me. I'd fished that lake for 13 years. Dozer, what's the difference? The flutter, okay, a jig and spoon is smaller and generally heavy, and it's more for vertical for the most part. A flutter spoon is more that looks like a big old, the big old blades and all that you throw out there. And as it sinks, it flutters and will, scoot on back, moving around a little bit. Jig and spoons are about to heat up in the ditches. It won't be long. I fished Chester Frost on Chickamauga Lake after bass tournaments. You see a lot of large bass floating, Pontoon Jody says. And I can imagine that's kind of something that we tournament guys have to do a lot better job when it comes to fish care. And we got to do a lot better job when the time comes to fizz our fish, to make sure your live wells are clean, to make sure you got the weights if you want to keep them upright, pool noodles to keep them from beating themselves to death in the live well. There is a lot to do. Now, you can't prevent every fish. You can't prevent every fish or a fish from dying. It does happen. But there are a lot of preventable ones. That's what's good about kayak tournaments. Catch, photo, release. But okay, Dino, okay, listen, you kayak guys, you say that. But I know good and well you guys hook a bass in the tongue too, and we all know what happens when a bass gets hooked in the tongue. Or you might catch, photo, release and let it go, but you caught that bass out of 35 foot of water, and while it looks like it goes down, you should have fizzed it as well. I mean, just because you catch it and release it, I agree with you as far as being in the live well. But there's still kayak guys still do, whether they want to admit it or not. They kill a fair amount of bass too, just by the nature of hook sets or catching one deep. Just because you don't have to bring it live to a weigh-in doesn't mean that fish lived when it swam off. Not dogging you guys. I know what you're saying, and I do think catch, photo, release eliminates a lot of that. Still comes back to taking care of the fish regardless. Yeah, because I'm like, you guys got those scales, those catch boards, or whatever you catch, whatever you call them. A lot of them are metal. Okay. A lot of guys don't wet that thing down. They'll stick it on that, or they don't wet their hands when handling fish. There's a lot of things, and that goes across the board. I'm not just picking on kayakers. I'm just saying there are some things, catch boards. There are some things that I'm sure not every kayaker guy does perfect as well. And some things you just can't avoid. Not dogging you guys at all. What's up, Cody Campbell? Boy, I missed a fish with a net. My old lady hooked up, and you could have swore I cheated or something. She wouldn't talk to me for like 2 days. No, dude, seriously. Yeah, seriously. What's up, Collins? I dip my board every time, no matter what. See, and you do, Alex. But again, a lot of guys. Now, I don't want to say a lot of guys. That's not fair. But there are guys that don't. And Dozer said she's right. So I must have just missed a comment right there. Unless you're talking about my wife. She probably was right for not fishing with me. Wait and see how much the stick, Cinco, and cross style baits bring to companies. What are you talking about? Like in the future here with all the price increases and all that, Fred Ashcraft? Is that what you're talking about? See if that part of the industry comes back up? If that's what you're saying. The fish is out of the water a lot longer on a kayak, Farmer says. If the guy's inexperienced, that may be so. That might be true. There's a lot less kayak guys catching fish deep enough to fizz than boaters. I can agree with you on that. But listen, I had to fizz a largemouth caught out of 9 foot of water before. Sometimes it's just how they fight and how they come up. My wife caught about a 15-inch crappie, and it flopped off the dock, and I couldn't get to it in time. And so she got mad at you. I get it. Okay, so that's what you're saying. So Fred's saying, let's wait and see. So over the net, see, that's another thing too. What's worse, the boat carpet or hot scales? I don't know, but I mean, probably neither one of them are absolutely perfect. But a hot scale would not be the thing to do. She didn't talk to me for about 10 minutes. Women can be ornery creatures at times. Not the ones that watch this show. The ones that watch this show are fantastic. Okay? But men can be ornery too. I know guys that don't talk to each other when somebody messes up a net. And I can't speak for everyone, but I keep mine in the net until it's time for the photo. And that's a good tip. That might be. I also have a rod holder to put my net in the water and let them chill. That's what Alex was saying too. So that's good. So you guys do that. But Jonah brought up a good point. For any of you guys whose parents grew up where they had that fake leather in the car, or you got black leather seats now, when you sit down on that in the summertime, how's that feel? So I guess a hot scale, if you don't take the time to actually dip that thing, at least try to cool it off, think about how that feels. Which could lead me into my PETA discussion, like that, because I was gonna talk about the people for the ethical treatment of animals today. Even in the boat, I keep the bottom of my net in the water. When I get one, I'll dip it. Yeah, I mean, that's good. So you guys are taking time to do those things, but I still think a lot of people don't. And I don't know how we went from baits to where we're at now. Yak Attack has their new boards. It's plastic. It doesn't get so hot. That's good. That's good. Definitely an improvement there. I do try and keep my catch board face down or in the shade. That's a smart thing. Boat flipping fish tears up their slime coat too. That doesn't regenerate. But same thing if you, and I'm not, Alex, I know you say you wet your hands and everything, and that's good. But even the guy that doesn't wet their hands, that can do that as well. I have black seats in my boat. The number of cheeks that have been burnt is quite high. I bet it is. Listen, it hurts. It hurts. Since we're kind of talking about fish care and everything. Yeah, I mean, there are things that on every side, bass boat guys, kayak side, all that stuff that we can do to prevent a lot of this stuff. And a lot of guys get lazy and they don't do it. I'll even dip my ruler in the water or sometimes keep it in a live well since it's metal. Okay, a really big bass, I treat them like trout. You got to be careful with them. And listen, even the way you hold a bass, some guys that they got it jacked up and they've got it lipped and then they got it tilted a little bit. That's not good for their jaw. Could be the reason some bass flip flop so much on the board because it's hot. I always dip mine too. Absolutely. What's up, Peg Leg? I thought fish didn't feel pain. Listen, I don't know. You got to be gentle with them Beckies. I get it. Straight up and down is the only way to hold them. Or either if you want to hold them vertically, you got to at least put your hand, wet preferably, up under and support the weight so that they're horizontal, not this 45 degrees. I'm doing great, baby. I'm doing great. I'm glad to see you. Rob, you need to do this. Rob says, I need to make a video on how to take care of fish during summer months. Still to this day, I've never had a fish die on me. I have the secret that I need to unleash. Unleash it, man. Don't be a gatekeeper. Rob. Let that puppy out of the bag because you'll be helping the fishing society. I use the donkey leash, not the donkey show, but the donkey leash for the smaller ones and let the bigger ones hang out in the net while I dunk my board and get ready to get picks. That's good. Those silicone necks, I think, are a necessity. Silicone nets. That's what mine is. Bring it on, Rob. Always wanted to learn more about fish care. And we have migrated over into the fish care world for sure. That's a bad, listen, we were talking about tournaments and just kind of the way people look at it. When big tournaments leave a bunch of dead fish, and again, I know not every fish can survive. I get that. I get it. But, man, one of the worst looks for a tournament is for the public to go out behind the tournament and then there's floating dead fish everywhere. GG should be handed out in every tournament or something. There's some kayak guys that will leave a fish on their deck and hold. I get it. Not everyone does it. Does anyone fish with doll flies and twisters anymore? Ronnie Keener. Buddy, I'll tell you this. I'll just tell you this. There may be some that do, but I don't think we have ever had a conversation on any of my podcasts about doll flies and twisters. You would be the first one to bring it up. Patricia Leanne Shaw, stop boat flipping bass on the deck, especially with eggs in them. Listen, there are a lot of people that are against that. I get it. Where's the old banjo minnow guys at? Hey, listen, there's actually been fish caught off that banjo minnow. They really has. We go swimming for fish. If they don't swim off good at this tournament, that gets put on by the house. And you should. I have waded chest deep to try to catch one or two and try to fizz them before. You should, because it was a tournament that we were involved in, and I didn't want it to be seen. And if they're going to die, if they're not going to swim off, take them home and eat them. Or somebody will eat them. Give them to somebody. Hey, Ronnie Keener, some guys in the comment section want to know, what is a doll fly? Could you put that in your comment right there? In your words, what a doll fly is. Farmer says, I want to talk about the correct way to hold a bass. If you hold a bass at any angle by their mouth, you can damage the jaw. And that was at Varner, like that. Good for you, dude. No, seriously. I see a lot of guys holding bass at an angle. That's what I was saying earlier. If you hold it up and down, that's one thing. If you want to turn it for a picture, put your hand underneath it and hold it this way. Because if you're holding it and that fish, even a young one, and it happens a lot with young ones, guys will just be unhooking it and they're doing this, and that jawline is coming off, and then the fish is 45 and down, you are damaging, according to biologists. And we can ask Thad Moody that tonight because he'll be on. We'll have a biologist on the live board tonight. We'll ask him that question. But from what I've been taught, it damages their jaw. I boat flip almost every fish I catch, and it doesn't harm them. That's a myth, just like we've never been to the moon. Now, Robert, you're saying we have been to the moon or we haven't been to the moon? I want to make sure I got you correctly. Jeremiah says, ended up going back to the original cream worm if these prices keep going up. Hey, listen, they catch fish. A lot of us might be throwing Zebco 33s again. But we might. You never know. Just because they don't die in your live well doesn't mean they live forever. That's true. And that's what I was kind of saying, Alex, too. With everything, just because you measure it and you let it go and you swim off doesn't mean that fish is going to live as well if it's been hooked a certain way. And you know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, yeah, I don't think a live well, though, is an automatic given that they're going to live. You got to take care of it. 100%, you got to take care of it. How would the elites do if they had two land bass like the P.E.T.A? I don't know. That's a good question. Can't go wrong with Zebco. My dad's fishing buddy still uses them in a tournament. I'm telling you, more fish. Now, I'm getting ready to sound like Randy Blockett, and I don't want to do that. Throwing out these percentages that's off the top of my head. But I would be willing to bet that more fish have been caught in America on a Zebco 33, 404, 202 than any other line of fishing rods and reels. I might be wrong, but dude, everybody I knew have them or they've used them in the past. Ronnie says that doll fly is beer. Sorry, you know what my mind is. Bear or deer hair hand tied on a lead head hook. Now we talk bucktail jigs some, but we don't talk doll flies and stuff. My pet peeve is people putting metal coal tags in their lip. They should be illegal. For me, if it's small enough to boat flip, it's small enough for me to grab the line and keep the fish off the carpet. If it's too big for that, I don't flip them. I still use the old man's lizards and flat-tail worms from my childhood tackle box. You sound like Tim. Tim Hancock's he brought some worms up here. The plastic they were in was disintegrating. It was crazy. They were so old. Fish die of natural causes too. Need more education than discrimination. Captain J. Morgan, excellent point. Robert Blesky, let's do this right here, guys. We haven't been to the moon. It's been over 60 plus years since we essentially been. Think about it, why we haven't been since and why. Because it was all an act to distract people from something bigger. Now, everybody get out your aluminum foil hats. Now, I'm just playing with you, Rob. A lot of people, listen, a lot of people feel the same way you feel. I'm going to tell you, Danny Pruitt, I don't give two shits. I'm not going to the moon, and I don't care about it. I do know that it affects tides. That's about all I know about it, and it's pretty on a date night. And the deer, it kind of can affect your deer hunting a little bit. As long as the moon does its job, I don't care if we go or go back or been there or whatever. But a lot of people believe we have not been to the moon. So you guys in the comment section, if you want to say it, I want to see. Do you believe we went to the moon? How many of you guys just say yes, no? That's all you got to say. Yes, we've been to the moon. No, we have not. And we might as well get on the flat earth thing while we're at it too. Yes, if the earth is round, and no if the earth is flat. All right? Dozer says no. B. Muller 18, is the earth flat? That's where I was going. I don't know. Let's see. That's as funny as I'll get go. Carson says no, and I believe that's what you're talking about. No, we have not been to the moon. Went back to my grandpa's lake house. All my plastics were still sealed under my bed like I left them. Still look new. That's amazing. No and no, Chandler Irwin said. So no, the earth is not round, and no, the earth is not. Which one on the earth being flat? No, we've not been to the moon, but is the earth flat or not? No, we have not, and the earth ain't flat. Oh, dirty cracker. Appreciate you joining us today. John G. Wilson goes, nope. Messick says yes to the moon and no, the earth isn't flat. And Jonah says, even if we did or did not, it's not that important because it doesn't help me catch fish or do college work. Oh, John Aldred, is there a chance that Bigfoot exists? And James says, I agree. We haven't been to the moon. You guys, okay. All right. I didn't realize a lot of you felt this way. Real Michael says, nope, we haven't. Earth is round and we haven't been to the moon. Jason says, I know a couple of flat earthers. They are a different kind of crazy. They're just like kayak guys. They are. They're just like kayak guys. They're just something a little bit different. Dozer says it matters because we paid for it. I guess you're right on that. And then, all right, Bigfoot too. John Aldred loves Bigfoot. I can tell you what address she lives in Dawsonville. But with moon phases, does it really mess with hunting and fishing? Yes. Yes, it does. Yes. I need to pull that book back out that we read on the podcast where he talks about moon phases. It does affect it. There is maybe in different ways than you think, but it does have effect. What do y'all know about bass squatch? What about aliens? You're a kayaker now too, Danny. No, just one time, don't make me. No, don't make me a kayaker. Flat earthers are definitely special. I mean, I've killed some deer on full moons. No, I believe you can. And I don't believe it. I don't believe that deer don't move early in the mornings on a full moon like some people say. But I think the kill rates are good in the middle of the day than a normal moon. What if we are the aliens? And Atlanta says, yeah. Atlanta Outdoor says yes to Bigfoot. B Muller 18 says, love bass squatch. Pontoon Jody, no, but I work for a company that gets Department of Defense contracts, and I saw where they awarded a company a $10 billion contract for space exploration vehicles. Wow. Now Atlanta, I see guys saying yes to aliens. We are the aliens. We do not pay for NASA or anything that has to do with space. Billionaires sponsor and help pay the expenses. Rob, are you sure about that? I mean, you might be right. I don't know. I'm an alien to a bass. Danny, do you think it messes with deer big time? Carson Fowler. I don't know about big time. I'm not one of those guys. Don't read my name. Don't need to be evidence outside of the chat. Okay, Clint. I got you. Let's see. Reading comments, hunt talk today. We can talk hunting too. We can talk whatever we want on this show. The full moon effect affects all wildlife I've seen over the years. They found a jackalope in Colorado. You guys are just going off the rails with stuff right now. There are two Bigfoots that hang around FNGO. Farmer says, you and Ryan. Is that it? Love it. Yeah, we can do that. They might get me. Just in the comments, a lot of you guys were like, no, we haven't been to the moon. No, the earth is not flat. Yes, I believe in aliens. We are the aliens. The moon, are we going to bring up the walking on the moon again? And why are you calling me Danny, Rob? Like, Oswald didn't act alone. I will say I won't duck hunt after a full moon. Jackalope is just a coos deer. There you go. We should, we should just do that one day. The heck with fishing. Let's just talk all conspiracy theories. Silverback gorillas were considered myths at one point. Do you think Georgia deer are harder than Florida deer to hunt? I've never hunted deer in Florida, so I can't give you a fair assessment on that. And to be quite honest, I've only talked to one guy that deer hunts in Florida my entire life. And he was just up here in the shop about 3 weeks ago. And that's because he is a game warden or whatever they call him in Florida at his given location. And so he brought it up and we talked about it there. But I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. It's a good question. Tupac is not dead. Oh, Lord. Here we go. The chupacabra has been found too. Walking catfish. No, never duck hunt after a full moon night. Who thinks it won't be long before most conspiracy theories prove true? Some of them have, Dozer 21. Lanier is not haunted, Jeremiah. It is not haunted. It is just covered by stupidity. Aliens do exist. I've seen UFOs when I was fishing in Whitewater Bay in the Everglades. That's a crazy story I witnessed, and it was at night camping. And let's see, Florida deer are as big as dogs, Fred Ashcraft said. That's true. They're not very big. I saw Elvis fishing last week, and I'm scared of the chupacabra. What about the haunted dam at Nickajack? Never heard about that, Chandler Irwin. You guys are throwing a lot of stuff at me. I'm just reading comments today. I'm just reading comments. I don't know. There was a guy thought I saw a UFO fishing at night, but it was Starlink. Now, I've seen the Starlinks. I even seen them over when I was in Romania, because in Romania, we were out in the countryside in Romania, and there is no light pollution. And when them Starlinks come flying across there, I mean, you can see them and you'll see them several times while you're doing there. It is pretty interesting. My dad's buddy says he's seen a floating light while night fishing on Nickajack, and it went around his boat. Ooh. I had FWC pull up on me 3 times in 1 week last time I was down in Destin. The Florida Wildlife Commission, is that what that is? What's the shapeshift the Cajuns talk about? Oh, good Lord. You guys y'all are throwing them out. We can't even get on the topic long enough to stay on it. Ghost is another topic and rabbit hole we can jump into. Now, Dave Aldridge just on here. His wife, they had a house. We heard this the last time we all got together. They had a house down in Mississippi or something that was old plantation house or something like that. And the woman had passed away in the house or something. And his wife had several run-ins with the woman. And she was talking about it when we all got together. And I mean, she was like dead serious on what she was saying. UFOs are real. I read it online somewhere. I've got a deer named Ghost. I tell you, something scary is hearing the word game warden while it's still dark outside. 100%. Oh, let's see. You drank any more chew juice lately? I don't know. What is chew juice? Or maybe I just don't remember what it is. I had the witch get on me in the stand one time. Y'all ain't right. Want to see if the old lady of the lake will pay me a visit. We looked for her that night, Farmer. She was there in the form of a pontoon boat with no lights on. That's what it was. There is a ghost in my ear that tells me to go fishing instead of study. Oh, and so yeah, Clint. Yeah, that story was wild about Miss Dixon. That's who it was, Miss Dixon. Like, it's very hard to repeat somebody else's ghost story. Very hard to repeat it. But I will say this: whether you believed her or not, she told as convincing a ghost story as you will ever hear. Seriously. You need to hear that story. To do that, though, we got to let the wives and all that get on the show and take over the podcast and stuff. And that's a scary thing. I don't know that I'm ready for that. Florida Wildlife is not playing with you either. They come like SWAT as soon as your truck door opens, talking about, you got a license? What's in the cooler? Yeah. Pontoon Jody says, that was me. The only thing I'm going to find in my lake is old Greg. What is old Greg? The old lady at the... Okay, Rob, I'm going to read it anyway. The old lady at the lake paid me a visit, but I was soon to realize I was staring at a naked woman outside her shower near her dock at Lake Lanier. Had a game warden make fun of me because my gun wouldn't work. You had a game warden make fun of you? That's like, I don't know that I told anybody that. We'll try to get her on the show. Just her and Dave. Yeah, Zara Spook is real. That is when it is real. John G. Wilson says, I believe in ghosts. Now, listen, you've said this before. You have said this before on the show, John G. I remember reading it in the comments. I believe in ghosts. I have 7 brothers and sisters, and each one of us has seen a Confederate soldier standing at the end of the bed in one certain bedroom. No joke. He has said that on the show before. He has said that. And the fact that he's coming back with it for a second time means he's committed to it and believes it. And I'm not saying it ain't right. Old Greg is a big scaly manfish. Okay. Had the gun soaking in oil and it still wouldn't eject. So my pump was a single shot. Okay. I got you right there. Drinks Bailey's from a shoe. I like me some Bailey's. I really do. It's fantastic in coffee. One time I was going to church. Okay. I didn't put enough to do anything, but I had my, little Yeti kind of thing. And I had it filled with coffee up about halfway. And I filled the other half of it with Bailey's. That's what I've been drinking all morning. So not a lot, but go off to church. And I'm just sitting there and I'm having a grand old time in the spirit, just listening to Russell preach the word. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, yeah, man. And my wife looks at me and she goes, are you drinking? I said, no, I just got my coffee. And she goes, what's in your coffee? And I said, some Baileys. You're drinking in church? Well, no, not really. Oh my goodness. She got so mad at me. But listen, it's a great sermon. It's a great sermon. I've got a pump that works like a double barrel because I can't put more than one in the mag. I got that. Love the AI Bigfoot on TikTok. That is the best. Now, them guys on TikTok with the AI and all that, some of the stuff, it's funny. I don't listen, and it ain't all politically correct, but it is funny. I've had a paranormal experience before. Had it on audio recording for a while with my old phone. He's Republican. Are you talking about me? Are you talking about me? Who are you talking about? It's Republican. Danny was in the spirits. It wasn't a lot. It was just enough. You put Bailey's in coffee. It was good, but I'm serious. I'm sitting there. I sung the songs and I was sitting there listening to Russell. And I mean it. She was staring at me and I could see it out of the side of my face. And I just looked over and I'm like, what? And she goes, that's when she did. She goes, you been drinking? Well, yeah. My childhood first home, the back door would be locked and would lock and open on its own to let the dogs in. Everyone in the house would be on the couch and hear it unlock and open. Weird. Had a neighbor say that one of her rooms had red eyes floating in on it, and you would leave in scratch marks. Good grief, you guys are going to be standing in front of a daggum bathroom window saying Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, and all that today. Last weekend, I went to Omaha, Georgia, and I stayed at the Omaha Brewing Company. The building is an old elementary school for black children. It was haunted, and I heard the kids playing outside around 2 a.m. Now, Rob, you wasn't hitting anything, was you? Speaking of AI, have y'all seen the new Sixth Sense lizard commercial? Looks awesome. Yes, tattoos are full of spirits. Anybody watch the trail cam scams? I have not, but I need to. Is the shop haunted, Danny? I will say this. One time we were downstairs and we thought we heard somebody walking upstairs. We came out, thought a customer was in here and there wasn't nobody. But that could have been anything. I'm not going to admit to it. You need to look into the haunted dam on Nickajack. I'll check that out. I'm not admitting to anything. Yeah, Beetlejuice. I'm not admitting to anything until I see it. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I'm not going to admit to it until I see it. That's just the way I am. I will say this. When we were in Montana, we filmed at the Wells Fargo Steakhouse, which was the original Wells Fargo stagecoach building in Montana. And the guy was giving us a tour, and we went underneath. And you probably have heard me talk about this before. I know some of you guys have. But in the basement, in the walls were holes. And they just basically were holes that kind of went underneath the building that was attached to it on either side. In the wintertime in Montana, back in the day, 1800s, whatever it was, back when stagecoaches went out there, if you passed away during the wintertime, they could not bury you because of the amount of snow that was on the ground, and the ground was frozen. So they would take you and they would chunk you into that hole in the wall, and you would sit there until it thawed. And then you got a proper burial. Now, the gentleman giving us the tour said the place was haunted, and he said that some of them TV shows that look for those things had been there before and all that. But I'm just sitting there thinking, man, what would it be like to walk down there and you could, it was at least 5 or 6 of these holes, and you could chunk like several bodies in there. But they just went through and busted out the blocks and just chunked you underneath the building next door and let you sit there. Just sit there until it was time where they could properly bury you. A bunch of haunted buildings all down in Savannah and coastal Georgia as well. They do tours. Apparently they do. New Orleans has got them as well. If I get spooked while I'm out fishing at 2 a.m. this weekend, I know who to blame. Pontoon Jody. It's not my fault. It's the people I hang around. I think I'm more open to stuff due to having odd experiences in my first childhood home. The house burned. We found out 2 houses were there prior, and they also burned within 40 years. Okay, that's spooky. That is spooky. I believe in coincidences a lot, but 3 houses burning down within 40 years of the same spot. Maybe there's something to that. They have landed on the moon, but not the sun, says Tom Errico. Savannah is a cool place to visit, and it's extremely haunted. 9 miles of underground tunnels. Like, Rob, I think you're like in the middle of all of it. I think you're in the middle of all of this stuff. But still, I don't know. I'd like to experience a ghost, but not one of them like, you know, I don't want nothing like, Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, when they open the ark and all of a sudden the pretty spirits are flying around and then they get in your face and they turn into like skulls and long hair and like the old man. No, I don't want that. They say there's underground tunnels in Chattanooga. But seriously, like, I mean, I'd like to experience a ghost, but I want like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Okay, I don't need nothing haunted, like no mean ghost. Maybe, maybe Marilyn Monroe's ghost. I don't know, something like that. Which is another thing. Why do ghosts have to always look like scary? Why can't they just be like, it's witches are everywhere. It's kind of like medicine. Why do all the side effects always have to be negative? Why can't I take a medicine and make my unit grow or clear your acne or, make me taller? Why does it always got to be that your kidneys are about to fall out and all that other stuff? Why can there never be good side effects to anything? And why do all ghosts have to be scary? All right. Back to the Bigfoot thing. You remember there's that guy on YouTube that said he was molested. I don't want to say it too loud for TikTok, but let's just say that he was dealt with in not proper ways by a Bigfoot 2 nights in a row, which leads to the question, after the first night, why did you stay? Why did you stay? It's on YouTube. I'll have to find it out. 2 nights in a row. 2 nights in a row. He was taken advantage of by a Bigfoot. Okay? Now, first of all, you take that to your grave. You don't tell nobody that. Why would you stay? That's my point. So that makes me like, that didn't happen. Because I'm telling you, if that would happen to me, I'm getting out of the woods. Witches be tripping. Extremely haunted buildings, but I can't confirm or deny the ghost sightings. Black people don't. Oh my God. Jeremiah, my brother from another mother. True that. One night would be done. One night would be done. Doc said he didn't have anything to make the unit grow. I know it, but how come you can't have a medicine and that's a side effect? Why does it always have to be something negative? You're going to grow a third eye or something. It shouldn't be that way. But I do guess the one exception of that would be Viagra. Because Viagra, if I'm not mistaken, was made for a heart medication. And they found out what it does. That might be the one exception to the rule, is Viagra. And it has saved countless marriages or ruined countless marriages. It depends on which way you want to look at it. But I do believe that is the one medicine that was like for heart. And now, Doc, if he's still on here, it might be Doc's nap time during the day. He's old. I love you, Doc, if you're still on here. But that's the one medicine where actually the side effect turned out to be a positive. Unless you get one of those lasting for 4 hours, in which case you need to consult you get medical advice or go to the hospital. So you can actually spend the night at some of these haunted houses too. I'm right outside of Savannah, Robert. What tunnels are you talking about? He said 9 tunnels. I've only seen 4 and none over 100 yards. Been here my whole life. So Robert Blesky, that's what Fred Ashcraft wants to know. Atlanta Outdoors. My mother and I would both see silhouettes at the same time, then looking at each other from across the room and would confirm we both saw it. That's crazy. That is crazy. Now I'll say this, before I go, I got a little dog, Brady. He's actually a mix between a beagle and a Jack Russell. They say you can take the field trip through the dam on Halloween. That's up that Chick Dam or the Haunted Dam in Tennessee. But Brady will sit there, and I can't confirm this. He will sit at the bottom of the stairs at my house and just stare up the stairs like there's somebody's looking at him. Like there's something is looking at him. And we will walk to the stairs and we will look up and it's nothing. But like that dog right there, and this is kind of weird, but that dog right there, if a raccoon, deer, or possum or armadillo or whatever, if they walk in my yard, that dog can be in the middle of the house in his crate and he'll start growling. He will start growling. And 9 times out of 10, I can walk out, turn my outside lights on, look at my feeder, and there's a deer there. He knows. I don't know if it's smell or sense or whatever. This dog's crazy. He's crazy. Has bad anal gland problems, but other than that, he's a good dog. But he does it. But he'll go to the stairs and he'll sit there and he'll look at the stairs and he just stares. Like he is just watching something. He's not growling. He's not doing anything, but his attention is on something up them stairs. Now the other two dogs I got, they just like to lick themselves. They don't care. They're not like that. But Brady, dude, he's like that. So, my wife is like, he's a ghost. And I'm like, there ain't no ghost in the house. And she goes, no, that dog's looking at a ghost or something. And then she'll probably come up with some, we built this on an Indian burial mound story or something like that, our house and all that, which is crazy. But Brady is like that. And it is a guarantee that if he is sitting there and right dead in the middle of our house, not by a window, not by an outside door, middle of the house, if he's growling, I can go outside, flip on all the lights, and there's a critter in our yard. So is my dog looking at a ghost? I don't know. Dogs don't play. That's what Jonah said. It is also an Indian burial ground. Listen, I just can't believe so many of you guys don't think we've been to the moon and the earth ain't flat. Seriously, like I knew there was a few, and I really have never sat and thought about it. It just hasn't been anything that's important. I just always accepted that we did. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. But it does beg the question as to why we haven't been back. Now, that I'll give it to you. Milledgeville and Savannah both have tunnels, partially due to them being state capitals also. At least it's a friendly dog-loving ghost. I guess so. But really, it might be sitting there plotting to take me out. My dog might be plotting against me. They say a cat does that. Everybody thinks they're just furry, lovable critters. A cat is the number one predator in the world over a certain kind of thing. That's what I've been told a lot. But a lot of people have said, I've seen this on TV and all that, a cat sits there and when it's looking at you, it's figuring out how it can eat you. You think it's going to come up and you think it's rubbing on your leg and doing all this stuff. And I'm not a cat person. I'm not a cat person at all. But that cat is looking at you and it is thinking, how can I take you down? And then where am I going to start chewing? Without a doubt. We don't need to go to space when we can't even explore the oceans. Absolutely, Bigfoot exists. NASA was made to deceive, just like a lot of government stuff. Jonah, what are you, 19? I love you, Jonah, but what are you, 19? You got all that life experience coming out in you right there. What if we haven't been back to the moon because there was aliens and they said don't come back? Have you thought about that, you guys? Have you thought about that? My wife even agrees we haven't been to the moon. But what if that is right? What if when we got there, somebody said, listen, dude, you stay down there. This is our place. Is that a possibility? There have been debunking videos on the evidence of us going to the moon. Cats are absolutely plotting your death. I went to a pub crawl and they explained it. Oh, they're talking about them things under Savannah right there, the things. How can the earth be flat? Roger Gibson says. I don't know. Aliens made the pyramids. There's no way humans made them. And that Cybertruck belongs on the moon. That Cybertruck is the ugliest vehicle out there. We haven't gone back to the moon because the politicians were struggling to find a way to siphon off the money into their pockets. You guys are fantastic today. Like, seriously. Rusty Hicks, best ways to fish for spots at night. We actually got a fishing question. If I were fishing at night right now, even though they're not the best, you always can fish green lights, but I would still be taking either a big old worm or a big crankbait or a big Colorado single blade spinnerbait, and I'd be beating the rocks with it on points and humps. That's what I would do. I mean, I didn't think we needed a 51st, but it makes sense. I guess you're talking about state. There's so much going on. I'm lost here. Thad, we'll see you tonight. Thad's going to be our guest tonight on the live well, guys. It's going to be a good one. We moan those saying we never landed on the moon. I'm lost right there, Tom Erica. We moaned, or we moaned. Black and blue spinnerbait all day long. I read Georgia Hunt's books. Okay, so you guys are still talking about that. You're still talking about all that stuff. So anyway, all right. This episode was interesting. We might just have to do a conspiracy theory night and just lay them all out on the table and just see who believes in what. That might make for a good, interesting live well one night when we don't have a guest. It is conspiracy theory night. Are the Clintons really as guilty as everybody says they are for all the other things? You know what I'm talking about. You can't trust any cat. No, cats are of the devil. Are of the devil. You can't trust a cat. And if you're a cat guy, there's something wrong with you. You probably own a kayak. I'm just kidding, all my kayak buddies out there. You know I love you. Anyway, got the wife talked into watching the live well tonight. Good. I'll be on my best behavior, Chandler, which I'm having to a lot because of TikTok. If TikTok wasn't so strict, we'd really be going down some rabbit holes today. The difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth is 6 months to a year. Yes, let's have it. I would love to talk about how Hitler was smarter than most people think. Oh, my goodness. Rob. Got to run, guys. Watch out for those ghosts. I do too. Doug, I'll call you here in about 35 minutes. CNN did a documentary on how they deceived us on Gary Gray or whatever his name was. Yeah, there's a lot out there. He's just, oh, gosh, goodness. You guys over there, Clint, you're a cat guy? Makes sense now. It does make sense, unless you're talking about that kind of cat. Do you think the nutrients in this McDonald's will counteract the COVID-19 in my body? Mike G6 says, hey, man, go for it. Go for it. Listen, McDonald's, you'll live forever. Now, you can throw in their sandwiches out there right now in the sun. It won't rot. Gary Grant. Okay. I don't know. I didn't see that one. I like what Rob has to say because he's entertaining. And I want to know more about Antarctica. Take that how you want it. Yes, I did. Interesting. You guys, cannibalism. Cannibalism. That might be what we talk about tomorrow. Cannibalism. Would you eat your way out if you had to? So anyway, we'll leave it there because I want to save that topic for later. Okay. Takes one good cat to change your mind. You used to hate cats. No, that thing's trying to eat me. And I am a buffet, a beautiful buffet of a high fat, greasy meal for a cat. And I know. And they crap a lot. Seriously. Honestly. Cat people don't get you. But I'm kidding. I love y'all. So anyway, all right. Tomorrow, not tomorrow. Tonight, 8 o'clock, Thad Moody, fisheries biologist. You guys come join us. Bring your questions. Nick D, you always get here late, dude. You always get here late. I'm getting ready to go. But join us tonight too, 8 o'clock. And Doc Holliday was napping. I told you, jokers, he was taking a nap. Let's talk about why we have 12 months a year. That I've heard. All right, we're just going to do that. Deer hair was made for jigs, Tom Erico. I agree with that. The party just started. You know, Nick, I really honestly, if I thought people would stay on here and watch, I could just come in here for 8 hours and talk. I think I could pull that off. Because as soon as I get off of this, I'll be talking to myself over there. But anyway, we got to save some for tonight. All right? For tonight. We might do that. We might do a marathon one day, Chandler. We might do a marathon. Daylight savings time is a joke. You guys are still throwing it out there. But we might do that. Just all day. FNGO marathon. And we'll have some time when nobody's watching and we'll have times when guys pop in. But if I do that, marathon podcast would be wild. I can do it. I mean, listen, I am the David Goggins of talking. 24 hours of FNGO. I got enough Adderall and 5-hour energy in there right there. We could pull that off. We could do that. Daylight saving time is to help bass fishing at night. Listen to you guys. You guys are still throwing it out there. I'm trying to get off. Y'all come back tonight at 8 o'clock when Thad Moody's on. Bring your biology questions. Seriously. I ain't running no marathon, but we can do it after I run my marathon in March. Yeah, well, listen, I'm supporting you, Clint, in your endeavors. But if I got to go 20-something miles, I'm getting in the car. I'm just saying. All right. So anyway, y'all join us tonight, but bring your questions about bass biology, whatever you want to know about fish, because I really want to pick Thad's brains. Just keep filling up the white cup, and 24 hours won't be nothing for you. And I want to learn about the thermocline tonight, Dick D. Tonight will be a good one. Bring it on. All right, Robert, we're going to have to come up with that too. We'll have to save that when we talk about Jesus as well. We'll do all that stuff. We'll do it on that. Heck, we can bring it back up tomorrow. We can bring it back up tomorrow. But anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Come back at 8 o'clock tonight. If you can't join us at 8 o'clock tonight, come back tomorrow at 12. It'll be hump day. And we'll just try to get through this week together. And we will talk about who knows what. Who knows what the heck. I didn't even get to talk about P.E.T.A today. So we might do that tomorrow. So anyway, I'm going to get rid of my YouTube buddies and all that Facebook guys. I appreciate you guys more than you know, and I hope you join us tonight. You guys are out of here. See you guys. And then over here,